Welcome, fellow collectors and enthusiasts. Today we're diving into a treasure trove of American coinage that holds stories as rich as our own experiences. Whether you've spent decades poring over auction catalogs or simply have a cherished coin collection at home, there's something special in every piece. And right now, we're starting our journey with a coin that might have quietly jingled in your pocket one too many times, the 1967 US nickel. This isn't your everyday 5-cent piece, it's a miniature masterpiece loaded with history, artistry, and even a few delightful surprises for the keen-eyed collector. The story of the 1967 nickel begins in an era when America was on the move, embracing modernity while cherishing its storied past. Minted during a time of economic growth and innovation, the 1967 US nickel is a continuation of the legacy that began with the Jefferson nickel in 1938. Thomas Jefferson, whose visionary leadership helped shape a nation, graces the obverse of this coin with a calm, determined expression. His profile, rendered in impressive detail, stands as a testament to the mint's commitment to quality. On the reverse, the elegant image of Monticello, Jefferson's beloved estate, serves as a reminder of the rich historical context behind this coin. It's a design that perfectly balances reverence for history with the practicality of everyday currency. What really sets the 1967 nickel apart isn't just its timeless design, but also the subtle minting nuances that have captured the attention of collectors over the years. In an age before the era of digital precision, the US Mint was experimenting with techniques that sometimes produced coins with tiny errors, variations so slight that they could easily go unnoticed by the untrained eye. Yet for us seasoned numismatists, these anomalies can transform a common coin into a prized rarity. Imagine holding a coin that, upon closer inspection, reveals a double date or an off-center mint mark, errors that occurred purely by accident but have since become the holy grail for collectors hunting for that elusive variant. Take, for example, the crisp detailing of Jefferson's hair. In a genuine, high-quality 1967 nickel, you can see every strand carefully etched into the metal, creating a lifelike representation that's almost as if you could feel the texture. The lettering, too, is a marvel of mint craftsmanship. The words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," are struck with a consistency that exudes the mint's attention to precision and quality. And then there's the reverse. Monticello isn't just an architectural drawing, it's a vivid snapshot of American heritage, inviting you to imagine the storied halls of the historic estate. For those rare error coins, these design elements can sometimes appear with slight irregularities, a subtle doubling of the date, or perhaps a mint mark that seems to have shifted ever so slightly from its usual spot. It's these minute details that can elevate a 1967 nickel from a piece of pocket change to a coveted collector's item. Of course, as any collector will tell you, condition is king. The value of a 1967 nickel can swing dramatically depending on its state of preservation. In its circulated form, it might be found alongside countless others in a jar or coin roll, its value pegged mostly to its face amount. But for those lucky enough to have secured a specimen in near-perfect condition, say, an MS-66 or even an MS-67 grade, the story changes entirely. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition not only boast the full luster of the original minting but also command significantly higher prices at auctions. There have been notable sales where error variants of the 1967 nickel, when found in exceptional mint state, have fetched several $100s, sometimes even pushing into the low thousands. I recall reading about an auction where one such coin surprised even veteran collectors with its unexpected price tag, a vivid reminder that sometimes, the most unassuming pieces can turn into real treasures. And then there's the lore that surrounds these coins, those personal anecdotes and chance discoveries that every collector loves to share. I remember a story about a longtime collector who, while sorting through a box of coins from a local bank, noticed that one 1967 nickel had a slightly blurred edge along Jefferson's hair. What might have been dismissed by others as a minor flaw turned out to be a misstrike error, a variant so subtle that its significance wasn't recognized until years later. Today, that coin is the stuff of legend in numismatic circles, celebrated for its rarity and the serendipity of its discovery. It's a tale that perfectly encapsulates the thrill of coin collecting, the idea that sometimes, hidden in plain sight, lies a gem waiting to be unearthed by someone with the passion and expertise to see beyond the ordinary. When we talk about the 1967 nickel, we're not just talking about a piece of metal, we're talking about an artifact that encapsulates a moment in time. This coin was produced at a time when the U.S. Mint was refining its techniques and laying the groundwork for decades of coin production to come. Every detail, from the finely struck profile of Jefferson to the delicate rendering of Monticello, speaks to an era when minting was as much an art as it was a process. And while millions of these nickels were produced, it's those very production runs that sometimes yield a few surprises, misstrikes, error variants, and the occasional specimen that has escaped the wear and tear of daily circulation to become a true collector's prize. For the serious collector, examining a 1967 nickel is a lesson in patience and observation. It's about holding the coin up to the light, turning it over slowly, and appreciating the craftsmanship that went into every detail. It's about noticing that slight, almost imperceptible variation that might signal an error, something that, if authenticated, could enhance the coin's value exponentially. And it's about understanding that the story behind the coin is as important as its physical condition. Whether you're comparing the intricate lines of Jefferson's portrait or the fine details of Monticello on the reverse, each coin tells a part of a much larger narrative, a narrative of American ingenuity, artistry, and even a touch of happy accident. One of the things I find most fascinating about coins like the 1967 nickel is how they manage to capture both the grand sweep of history and the intimate details of everyday life. Here we have a coin that not only honors one of America's founding figures but also serves as a reminder of the countless transactions, exchanges, and moments of quiet reflection that have defined our nation's economic history. It's a coin that has journeyed from the mint to countless pockets, perhaps even being overlooked until one day, during a careful inspection, its rare variant was spotted. That moment of discovery, that rush of excitement when you realize that you're holding something truly unique, is what makes collecting coins so incredibly rewarding. It's amazing to think that a coin as small as the 1967 nickel can encapsulate so much history, artistry, and the serendipity of chance errors. Whether you're a seasoned collector who's been in the hobby for decades or someone who's just beginning to appreciate the subtleties of numismatic treasures, there's always something new to learn and discover. Every scratch, every misstrike, every little detail can transform an ordinary piece of coinage into a conversation piece, a relic that connects us to the past in a very tangible way. That brings us to the end of our exploration of the 1967 nickel, a coin that proves sometimes the most modest pieces have the richest stories to tell. Up next, we'll be turning our attention to another fascinating chapter in this series, where the journey continues with the 1974 U.S. nickel. Stay tuned as we delve into the unique history, standout features, and intriguing tales behind that coin. Welcome back, friends, as we continue our exploration of U.S. nickel history by turning our attention to the intriguing 1974 U.S. nickel. Following the captivating story of the 1967 nickel, the 1974 coin carries its own unique blend of history and subtle artistry that has caught the eye of collectors for decades. While it might appear at first glance to be just another everyday nickel, a closer look reveals fascinating details and a few surprises that truly set it apart from the pack. The 1974 nickel emerged during a period of change in American society, a time when the country was experiencing shifts in both economic policies and cultural attitudes. The Jefferson nickel had already been a staple of American currency since its debut in 1938, and by 1974 it had firmly established itself as a symbol of American heritage. Thomas Jefferson's profile, which adorns the obverse, continues to offer that distinguished and thoughtful expression that reflects the man's profound impact on American history. On the reverse, Monticello, the elegant design paying homage to Jefferson's beloved estate, reminds us of the coin's connection to an era defined by innovation, exploration, and a deep sense of national pride. One of the aspects that make the 1974 nickel so engaging is the period in which it was produced. By the mid-1970s, the U.S. Mint had refined its production processes, yet there were still moments when the human element of coin production led to little quirks that, in hindsight, are nothing short of fascinating. Some collectors have noted subtle differences in the striking of the coin, variations in the crispness of the design, minor misalignments of lettering, or even differences in the depth of the relief. These nuances are not flaws but rather echoes of a transitional period in minting technology. For seasoned collectors, such traits provide an extra layer of intrigue. Each coin is a snapshot of the mint's ongoing evolution and a reminder that even well-established processes can yield unexpected gems. Take a moment to imagine examining a 1974 nickel under a magnifying glass. You might notice that the intricate lines of Jefferson's hair or the delicate strokes forming Monticello are rendered with a precision that speaks to the craftsmanship of the era. In some specimens, especially those struck at the Denver Mint marked with a D, you might observe that the details are slightly sharper or even exhibit a subtle variation in contrast compared to their counterparts from Philadelphia. These slight differences can result in notable discrepancies in value. A coin in excellent, uncirculated condition, graded MS 66 or higher, can be significantly more valuable than one that's been through countless transactions. And when you factor in error variants or coins with those rare minting quirks, you have a situation where a seemingly ordinary nickel could suddenly transform into a sought-after treasure. The current market for the 1974 nickel reflects its dual nature. While many examples are common in everyday circulation, collectors are always on the lookout for those special specimens that tell a different story. Auction records have shown that error variants or coins in exceptional condition can command prices far above their face value. In recent years, some pristine 1974 nickels have fetched several $100s, with the occasional specimen, especially one with a unique mint mark or error, pushing even higher. There's an undeniable thrill in bidding on a coin that not only represents a piece of American history but also carries the mystique of a production quirk that few others possess. One memorable tale from the world of coin collecting involves a seasoned collector who had been eyeing a box of coins at a local coin shop. Amid the standard fare, a 1974 nickel caught his attention, not because it was exceptionally rare in theory, but because it bore a subtle misstrike that made it stand out. The coin featured a slight doubling of the date and an off-center impression on the reverse. Initially, it was dismissed by some as a mere anomaly, but after expert authentication, it turned out to be a prized error variant. That unexpected discovery turned a routine day into an unforgettable chapter in his collecting career, underscoring the idea that even coins as common as nickels can harbor stories that surprise and delight. It's these kinds of personal discoveries that truly capture the heart of numismatics, reminding us that every coin has the potential to tell an incredible story. The evolution of minting techniques in 1974 also played a significant role in how these coins have been perceived over time. By this point, the U.S. Mint had made great strides in quality control, yet the process was still far from foolproof. The slight variations found in many 1974 nickels are a testament to the balance between art and industry. They serve as historical markers, capturing a moment when traditional minting methods were beginning to yield to modern innovations. For collectors, this is a fascinating juxtaposition. The coin embodies both the old-world charm of meticulously hand-finished designs and the emerging efficiencies of a more automated process. It's a reminder that progress often comes with its own set of imperfections that, in the realm of collecting, can sometimes be the most valuable features of all. When you hold a 1974 nickel in your hand, you're not just handling a piece of metal, you're connecting with a slice of American history. The coin's design is both an homage to a revered past and a symbol of the country's continuous evolution. Every detail, from the dignified face of Jefferson to the carefully etched image of Monticello, reflects the artistic and technical prowess of its time. And while the coin might appear unassuming at a casual glance, its subtleties are what drive collectors to look closer and appreciate the craftsmanship that went into every strike. For collectors, the value of a 1974 nickel isn't measured solely in dollars and cents, it's measured in the richness of its history and the joy of its discovery. A well-preserved specimen can serve as a cornerstone in a collection, a tangible connection to an era when minting was as much an art as it was a science. The condition of the coin is critical. A coin that's been well protected and preserved can offer not just aesthetic pleasure but also a lucrative investment. On the other hand, coins that have circulated heavily tell a different story, a story of everyday life and the passage of time. Whether you prefer a pristine, museum-grade specimen or a coin that carries the patina of years spent in pockets and purses, the 1974 nickel has something to offer every collector. There's also a deeper cultural significance to these coins that can't be overlooked. In a time when the U.S. was grappling with significant social and economic changes, the coins in circulation were a constant, a small, steady reminder of a nation's enduring values. The 1974 nickel, with its familiar design and subtle imperfections, embodies that sense of continuity and resilience. It's a coin that reminds us that even in the midst of change, there are elements of our history that remain constant, elements that continue to provide a foundation for understanding our past and shaping our future. As we dig into the world of the 1974 nickel, it's clear that its story is one of contrasts, a blend of common currency and rare beauty, of mass production and individualized error. This duality is what makes it so fascinating to collectors. It's a reminder that even in the most mundane objects, there can be hidden depths waiting to be discovered by those with a passion for detail and a love for history. Each coin is a tiny work of art that has passed through countless hands, each one carrying with it a fragment of American life. In wrapping up our look at the 1974 U.S. nickel, I hope you found this journey as enlightening and thrilling as I have. The coin's modest exterior belies the layers of history, craftsmanship, and serendipity embedded in every strike. Whether you're drawn to its aesthetic appeal, its historical context, or the thrill of discovering a rare error variant, the 1974 nickel holds a special place in the world of numismatics. It's a coin that challenges us to look a little closer, to appreciate the beauty in small details, and to remember that every piece of currency has a story worth telling. Up next, we'll continue our deep dive into another fascinating piece of American coinage as we explore the 1984 U.S. nickel. Stay tuned for more tales of history, craftsmanship, and the delightful surprises that keep us collectors ever curious. Now we arrive at the final chapter of our nickel journey, the 1984 U.S. nickel. This coin might seem like just another piece of everyday currency at first glance, but as with the others, there's a hidden world of history, artistry, and those delightful mint surprises waiting to be uncovered by an observant collector. The 1984 nickel represents a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage, where modern minting techniques began to truly come into their own, setting the stage for the precise and consistent coins we see today, yet still leaving room for those rare, collectible quirks that make numismatics such an exciting pursuit. Minted in the midst of a changing America, the 1984 nickel carries forward the legacy of its predecessors while reflecting the advancements of its time. The coin's obverse features the familiar, dignified profile of Thomas Jefferson, a design that has stood the test of time since 1938. Jefferson's expression on the 1984 nickel is one of calm determination, echoing the spirit of innovation and progress that characterized the early 80s. On the reverse, the ever-iconic image of Monticello continues to grace the coin, serving as both a tribute to Jefferson's legacy and a reminder of the rich architectural heritage that has always been a source of national pride. Although the design might not seem revolutionary, it is in the subtle refinements and the precision of the strike where the true evolution can be appreciated. One of the most striking aspects of the 1984 nickel is how it bridges the gap between old-school minting and the more modern processes that would soon dominate coin production. By 1984, the U.S. Mint had invested in technology that improved the consistency and detail of each coin, yet the process wasn't completely immune to the occasional hiccup. It's these imperfections, those minor misstrikes, slight variances in the mint mark, or even a delicate doubling of a date element, that can elevate a routine piece of currency into a coveted collector's treasure. I've heard countless stories from seasoned collectors about the thrill of discovering an unusual 1984 nickel tucked away in a coin roll or at an estate sale, proving that even decades after its minting, the coin still has the power to surprise and delight. Examine a pristine 1984 nickel under magnification, and you'll notice the intricacies that set it apart from later, more uniform issues. The lines of Jefferson's hair are crisp and meticulously detailed, each stroke revealing the high level of craftsmanship that went into the production. The lettering on the coin, from "Liberty" to "In God We Trust," is flawlessly executed, reflecting the mint's commitment to excellence even during a period of mass production. On the reverse, Monticello is rendered with an attention to detail that hints at the complexity behind the seemingly simple design. In some specimens, especially those produced at the Denver or San Francisco mints, you might observe slight variations in the relief of the design, a subtle signature of the mint's regional practices and the evolving technologies of the time. When discussing the value of the 1984 nickel, condition is again the crucial factor. For most collectors, a 1984 nickel pulled from circulation isn't going to command a high price. After all, millions of these coins passed through our hands over the years. However, uncirculated coins that have been carefully preserved and graded at a high level, such as MS 66 or above, can be a different story entirely. In pristine condition, especially when accompanied by an unusual mint mark or a verified error, the coin's market value can surge. Auction records have shown that an error variant of the 1984 nickel can bring in several $100s, sometimes even nearing $1,000, depending on the rarity and demand. It's not just the coin itself, but the story behind that particular specimen, the narrative of production quirks, the accidental misalignment, or the fortunate preservation, that turns a humble nickel into a prized collectible. One story that always brings a smile to my face involves a dedicated collector who spent years meticulously cataloging his collection. While most of his 1984 nickels were perfectly ordinary, one day he discovered a coin with a very subtle, almost imperceptible double impression on Monticello's dome. At first, he thought it was just a fluke of light or perhaps a smudge on the coin, but after a closer examination and expert authentication, he learned that he held a rare double-die variant. That coin, which had lain unnoticed in his collection for years, suddenly became the centerpiece of his collection, a tangible reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hidden in the details that many might miss. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of the 1984 nickel. Even as a product of modern minting methods, it retains an element of unpredictability and wonder. The evolution of minting practices during the early 1980s is vividly captured in the 1984 nickel. This was a time when the mint was not only focused on producing coins in large quantities but was also honing its techniques to ensure that every strike met a high standard of quality. It's fascinating to compare the 1984 nickel to its earlier counterparts. While the design elements remained largely consistent, the improvements in technology meant that the level of detail and finish was noticeably enhanced. For collectors, this represents more than just an aesthetic upgrade, it's a marker of progress, a symbol of an era when the art and science of coin production were beginning to merge in ways that continue to influence modern minting. Every coin from this period is like a snapshot of history, capturing the intersection of tradition and innovation in a way that's both subtle and profound. For those who love to study the minute differences between coins, the 1984 nickel offers a rich field of discovery. Pay attention to the mint marks. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint bear a P, while those from Denver carry a D. In some cases, collectors have even managed to track down rare mint errors where a coin might have an atypical or even missing mint mark, anomalies that can significantly boost the coin's appeal and value. These nuances are a reminder that even in an era characterized by technological advancements, the human element of minting remains a charming and unpredictable part of coin production. Beyond the technical details and market values, there's a personal, almost poetic aspect to collecting a 1984 nickel. It's not just about the potential for profit, but also about the connection to a particular moment in time, the era of big hair, bold fashion, and a country on the brink of major cultural shifts. Each coin carries with it the echoes of everyday life in the 80s, the sound of transactions in bustling city streets, and the quiet memories of people who carried these coins in their pockets. For many collectors, these coins are a bridge to the past, a tangible link to a period that, while now decades behind us, still resonates in the stories and memories of those who lived through it. And let's not forget the excitement that comes with holding a coin that might be the key to your next great discovery. The 1984 nickel, with all its subtle imperfections and historical significance, is a reminder that sometimes, even the most common objects can hide extraordinary stories. Whether you're a veteran collector with decades of experience or someone who has recently developed an interest in numismatics, the thrill of uncovering that one rare variant or error coin is an experience like no other. It's a moment of recognition that you're not just holding metal, but a piece of history that has been meticulously crafted and, occasionally, delightfully marred by the unpredictable nature of production. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the fascinating world of U.S. nickels. From the historic charm of the 1967 nickel, through the transitional quirks of the 1974 issue, to the refined yet delightfully unpredictable 1984 coin, we've explored a spectrum of history, craftsmanship, and those little serendipitous moments that make coin collecting such a rewarding pursuit. Each coin tells a story of art, industry, and the enduring human desire to connect with our past in a tangible way. Whether you're looking to expand your collection or simply appreciate the rich narratives hidden in these small pieces of metal, remember that every coin has a tale waiting to be told. Happy collecting!